Okay, so it seems like we got an update on the whole VTuber group slash agency, whatever you want to call it, that has essentially rebranded into being Chroma Shift. Now, Chroma Shift obviously rebranded back in June, but it seems like they've actually released a whole FAQ, giving us a lot of answers as to why they've decided to make this change. And, obviously a lot of the reasons, some of the problems that they were facing, obviously at the old group, which the old group actually used to be called Idol Corp. Now, this was something that happened over about a year ago, and essentially Idol Corp actually got acquired by Brave Group US, who obviously invest in a lot of different VTuber agencies, including Globy, which we talked about recently, who recently lost like 5 members, like all at once. Obviously, we had like Kiri Kilovolt and people like that who were essentially being just leaving and graduating due to the fact that things weren't good enough there. But it seems like Chroma Shift obviously had a new start whenever they kind of announced that they would be rebranding, into a different group called Chroma Shift. And obviously they put out an announcement and things like that, obviously about the Brave Group acquisition. And then, eventually they then changed into Chroma Shift. But now, obviously, they've got a website with all of their talent and stuff, and they still kept, I think, a lot of their talent from the previous group. And also, they've done stuff like reorganize them into different subgroups and things like that, because again, things were a little bit kind of shaky at the previous kind of agency. Now, obviously, as I understand, one of the big reasons why Brave Group has really helped out with this group and why this rebranding was necessary was due to a lot of issues just with management, finances, and everything like that. The usual kind of thing you get at a VTuber agency that is kind of struggling. And well, it seems like obviously Brave Group have come across and helped to add a little bit more stability, I guess, to it. And Chroma Shift becoming Chroma Shift obviously has also changed this as well. So this was the post that they actually put out on Twitter called the Chroma Shift Rebrand FAQ. They said, "Thank you so much for your patience as we put this FAQ together. We know a lot of you have questions about the rebrand, and we're going to do our best to answer them for you. Hang tight, this is a long one." They say, why the new name Chroma Shift? They say, talent and management agreed that a key step to moving forwards would be rebranding. The new name reflects a bolder and more accurate vision of our goals to continuously push the boundaries of what a VTuber agency can be. The name also, I think they meant to put the new name, also provides additional benefits in SEO, which is 100% true. Chroma Shift is much more of a consolidated brand that is not taken up by any other kind of things. Whenever you have a name, for example, like Idol Corp or just Idol, it's not exactly a very sticky outy name because you've already got like obviously K-pop idols and Japanese idols and things like that. So if you search up Idol, the VTuber group probably isn't going to show up. It's probably going to show up, obviously even maybe the song, obviously the song Idol by Yoasobi. There are so many different other things called Idol where you just wouldn't really get into these search engines. Whereas Chroma Shift, I can assure you, if you were to search up on Google right now, Chroma Shift, they would be somewhere up there near the top of the search engines because not very many things are called that. So very, very good change. And obviously, a new name just presents change anyways, in terms of obviously if they wanted to rebrand, you kind of got to do a name change as well. Let's talk about why the new units. Obviously, as I said, they shook up, which units some VTubers are in. They say, with Chroma Shift's fresh start, both talents and management saw an opportunity to reorganize existing members into new units that share optimized thematics, identities, and characterizations, which obviously, I think that's a pretty understandable thing. And it seems like they really are trying to shake up a lot of, what Chroma Shift are doing. Now, they obviously say, how were the new units selected? They say both the talents and the management's input were taken into consideration during the unit formation process, and the final groupings represent the most optimal arrangement based on the available options. So obviously, they did ask obviously some of the talent on which kind of units they would like to be in, as in, if you don't know what a unit is, obviously it's like a group of VTubers that kind of interact with each other and are kind of branded together. I can't really think of an example right now. There's some like in Ninja Sanji and things, as you probably know. But they're saying shifting to the 3-member unit also enhances management support and allows for greater flexibility and agility in project execution. Talent selected the unit names themselves once the units were selected. They said, can talents still collaborate with older generations? They said, yes, talents are welcome to collaborate freely with other Chroma Shift members if previous generations wish to work together. They are more than welcome to do so. While our initial focus is on spotlighting the new units, there are no restrictions on cross-generation collaborations. We encourage celebrating past generations through special sub-unit projects and collabs, which obviously is great to see. Obviously, some agencies tend to not like their units interacting, especially if they're of an older generation. They only like the current generation interacting with each other, more so, obviously, due to branding, collabs, and things like that. So, again, it's great to see that they are allowed to interact with each other still. They also say, why focus on the English community? They say, in an effort to provide a more consistent support and feedback, and after careful consideration and discussion with the talents, we envision focus on the English community to better support our talents in reaching their goals. The shift is to better help us serve our audience, enhance communication, and create a more unified experience for all talents and fans. Please support our talents in this new leg of their journey. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, that's great. Obviously, with the stuff with vshojo recently, it's kind of opened up a little bit of a market for an English agency or an English group or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, that is great because obviously vshojo is no longer about, and they were the biggest EN English-speaking group. Obviously, they did have a Japanese, branch as well. But I would say they were the biggest English group, and now there isn't very many that are, that large. So I hope that they can fill that, place going forward. Say, can Wildfire celebrate their anniversary? It says Wildfire can celebrate their anniversary as a subunit event. This will be funded as all previous generations' anniversaries. It said, why were some of the talents able to keep their IP after graduation? So talents who have been able to keep their IP after graduation had different contracts, which, yeah, is interesting. I don't know if that's going to be a contract moving forwards or not, and they will be able to keep their IPs even after they graduate now, after this kind of reshuffle. But again, I mean, it's great that they did in the past, but hopefully that can continue as well. They say, why were the endless plushies crowdfunded when they were previously donathon goals? They say the initial donathon goal did not cover the full cost to produce manufacturers' minimum order quantities. This donathon occurred before the merger with Brave Group US, so staff could not have met the guidance on this, or were not given guidance on this. Crowdfunding was still needed to try and meet the minimum order quantity. I say, will Chroma Shift release an original song? Yeah, apparently they are going to be releasing a full company song, which, you could look out for. Say, why is this FAQ taking so long? They say, thank you for your patience. We wanted to make sure that the talent and management both had time to process all of the questions. So, yeah, obviously that is great to see. And obviously a lot of people have also been asking questions in the comment section of this too. For example, saying, regarding the SEO optimization part, is it because Idol Corp being composed of the two common words didn't return proper search results? But you expect the new name will. And they said, people often shorten the name to just Idol, which, as you can imagine, is not a limited term in the VTuber space. The impact won't immediately be dramatic, but we won't stop fighting for room with the new name. People saying, why won't it let me view the quotes on this? Said you can view them here. Obviously, there's been a lot of people there. We can actually take a look at those. Because again, I know nothing about Chroma Shift, by the way. I've literally, I've heard of Idol Corp before. So I'm not really sure on the overall, I guess, consensus on this group and whether this is a good thing or not. Obviously, from what they've said, it seems like they've been pretty transparent with what is going on. People saying, thank you for posting this. It's genuinely a big step forwards in restoring goodwill. So thank you, Salty. And for example, this has 81,000 views and only 500 likes. That's what kind of gets me a little bit about this. But people saying we can have a vshojo or Nijisanji 2.0. They said no plans for that kind of outcome, Len. So obviously, thank God they're not going to be turning into this. Obviously, people saying, so after a few months of being promised answers, this is all we get, huh? Disappointing, but sadly not expected. Sorry to the social media staff that have to go through the comments and deal with this stuff. I think you've been doing a great job and it's been really entertaining. I don't really expect an answer, but is there any good reason why the Brave acquisition, different talents were offered different contracts, some of them which gave the option to acquire their IPs while others weren't? It feels weird not to have everyone treated the same, which, yeah, obviously that is a very, very important point. Obviously, I even said, I hope that they do keep their IPs even in later contracts, but again, it seems like talents have different contracts whenever it comes to this kind of stuff. Obviously, a lot of people have been talking about it here. It seems like they're also pretty big in terms of the Spanish community, which also could be why they're getting a bit of hate due to the fact of their big, switch to English. People are saying, as a Spanish speaker and a long-term fan of ex-Idol ES, please stop making excuses. We know LATAM is not rentable. We know and accept it. That's why we're so committed as fans and other aspects to use any excuse is pathetic. I sympathize with Idol ES fans. So yeah, I think a lot of people are not very happy at the fact that they have rebranded into going more towards a kind of English speaking stuff. Say, and with this, you can forget about any of the Idol ES girls except Maker ever coming to LATAM one day. I only keep supporting Ruby and Tiger. So yeah, obviously that is also that also sucks. I mean, obviously I'm not really obviously in tune with the Spanish VTubing scene, but it seems like they had a lot of fans with the Spanish audience, so that does suck for them, and I can understand why they'd be annoyed at it moving towards an English thing. The only reason why I could see them moving towards more English is because of that gap in the market, which does make sense for a company, but obviously I don't think it means you need to get rid of your Spanish VTubers and things like that, which obviously does suck for a lot of the Spanish audience. So I hope that they can get something to do with that, Obviously, a lot of people in the subreddit as well talking about it, saying, don't love the corporate speak about talents in units, but I guess that's fine, as long as the talents are good with it. Someone saying, I remember someone made a post asking where the FAQ they promised was like 1 or 2 weeks after they've rebranded, but here it is. Damn, they took their time with it. So yeah, it's been like a couple of months since, obviously they rebranded and stuff. So that is definitely interesting. People saying this FAQ just really shows that they have massive problems, even without the idol image in their back snapping their necks. I'm just waiting for them to self-implode. They're too little and most importantly too late for us to come off as an attempt at damage control than anything. It said, I hate how they shifted to EN, to be honest. So yeah, that is a lot of the backlash that they're getting. It seems like there has been a lot of backlash. I mean, I went into this video thinking it was pretty positive, but now obviously seeing a lot of the comments from the Spanish fans, I didn't expect them to be such a big group in the Spanish space. But if that is the case and people are mad at this, then that does suck. People saying, what was the decision to leave the Hispanic community aside? Why was the change abruptly? Why was this change abrupt without saying anything? It felt like you completely abandoned us. And yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. I mean, a lot of the other stuff seemed alright. I think the only issues that people mainly have is the IP graduation stuff. Obviously, the fact that not everybody can graduate with their IP. And also the fact of, they switched to the English community now rather than the Spanish community. And a lot of the Spanish community are pretty mad about that because obviously they've been enjoying a lot of the VTubers part of that. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I'll obviously keep you guys up to date if there's anything else to come out with this. But I was wondering why it, wasn't very liked that much. And that seems like the reason why, they switched over to English. And as I said, although there is a gap in the market for that, it seems like they did have a lot of Spanish fans and they're now kind of ostracizing them from the group, which sucks, especially if they've been watching for quite a while. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also go to GameSubs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking out, including the new V-Card stuff to do with VTubers and everything like that. I've made a couple of videos on this, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.